Alright, today we're going to be making Bomb-Omb Battlefield with Polymer clay. So I started by getting 8 blocks of green clay and just kind of stuck them together. Now getting the basic shape of the stage was nothing fancy. I just grabbed a pocket knife and started carving away, as you can see. And after I got the top part done, I just carved out the little dirt canyon looking area. To be honest, this was probably the most tedious part. It even looked a little sloppy at first, but then I went in with some tools and just smoothed it all out. So out of all the Mario 64 stages, Bomb-Omb Battlefield is probably my favorite. I feel like it's the most fun to just run around and explore. It's also got a lot of variety as far as the terrain goes. You got the dirt valley area, you got this big spiral mountain which we're about to make, you got the floating island, but there's also a lot of flat land to balance things out. So at this point we're finishing up the spiral mountain, just adding in some of the pitfalls, and then it's going to be ready to get attached to the rest of the stage. Next, we're going to get a Q-tip with some rubbing alcohol and wipe everything down. This helps get rid of dust particles that build up on the clay as you use it, and it's going to give the end product a much cleaner look. So next up, we're going to make this rock structure. It kind of slopes down into the dirt valley, but at the top it turns into this like cage or jail cell looking structure. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. Maybe it's like a cage for the chain chomp or something. Now it's time to make the different pathways, starting with the one that goes around the spiral mountain. So this isn't the first time I've made a Mario 64 stage. A few months ago I made Whomp's Fortress, although looking back it was kind of a simplified version of the stage, whereas this time around I'm trying to make it more detailed and more like the actual stage. And I definitely want to make more Mario 64 stages in the future. If I had to guess, I'd probably do Lethal Lava Land next, but don't count on it. So one of the most interesting parts of this stage are the boulders that roll down the spiral mountain. They don't look like normal boulders, like they're not rocky or anything. They're perfectly smooth and perfectly sphere-shaped. I read somewhere that they're supposed to be the dead corpses of the Bob-Omb enemies, and that's kinda dark for a Mario game, but also pretty cool. Now we're getting ready to make the chain chomp enemy. It's funny because it's one of the biggest enemies in the game, but the model I'm making of it isn't even the size of a marble. And if you've ever wondered why chain chomps make barking sounds, it's because they are inspired by a childhood memory that Miyamoto had of almost getting attacked by a dog. There's a YouTube video that goes into detail about it. And as you just saw, I added King Bob-Omb to the top of the mountain. It just felt kinda empty without him up there. So at this point I'm just adding some last little finishing touches, like the rocks and the yellow flower patches, and a couple of other little platforms. And last but not least, the floating island. And there's the finished product, easily the biggest and most detailed thing I've made so far. Anyway, subscribe for more content and all that jazz, some of that B-movie jazz, some of that Barry B. Benson jazz, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, peace.